Good morning. We'll give just a moment to clear the waiting room and make sure that folks have connected to audio. As a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please do remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying before the board. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Tuesday, August 6th, 2024. Today's hearing is being held pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the city of Boston's website. Before I review procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman of the board, Kathleen Joyce.
Thanks, Danny. Good morning. My name is Kathleen Joyce, Chair of the Boston Licensing Board. Today, I'm joined by Commissioner Liam Curran and Commissioner Kiana Saxon.
Thank you. Please ensure that your audio and visuals are working properly. I will call each item in the order that it appears on this morning's agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee, who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and whether there are any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify. I will then swear in all parties. After that, the police report will be read into the record, and the licensee or their representative will have the opportunity to make a brief statement, followed by questions by the chair and commissioners. All testimony will be limited only to those individuals with firsthand personal knowledge of the alleged incident. Begin with the first item on this morning's agenda, calling item number 1, Jan Hung Inc., doing business as New Moon Villa Restaurant located at 15 to 19 Edinburgh Street. Date of the incident, October 27th, 2023. Assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, patron on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 15A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Do we have anybody with us on behalf of New Moon Villa? We will contact the licensee and take a second call. Calling item number 2, Lolita Boston LLC, doing business as Lolita Cocina and Tequila Bar, located at 271 Dartmouth Street. Date of the incident is December 7th, 2023. 911 call for a medical assist female patron in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
William Burke from Prince Lobel Tie, together with Maggie Roberts from my office, and Mark Malatesta is coming on momentarily from Lolita.
Thank you. We do not see Mr. Malatesta on here yet. In the meantime, we will see who is here on behalf of the Boston Police Department.
Officer Powell from Boston Police Department.
Thank you, Officer Powell. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
Sir, it's just going to be myself today.
Thank you. And I see Mr. Malatesta entering from the waiting room right now, so we will give him just a moment. We'll swear him in.
Thank you, Mr. Green.
Mr. Malatesta, I see that you have joined. We are on item number 2 right now. I've just asked you to turn your video on. Thank you very much. Your attorney has already identified you. If you could please raise your right hand, and Officer Powell as well. Do you?
Sorry, I was muted.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Officer Powell. If you could please read the police report into the record for the board.
About 12:27 a.m. on Thursday, 12/7/2023, Officers Powell and Mitchell in the Delta 103 responded to an unconscious female at Lolita Back Bay, 271 Dartmouth Street, Boston. Also responding was Delta 912, Sergeant Sullivan. It should be noted Delta 12 conducted a Code 35 license premise check. Boston EMS, Doherty and McKenna in the Alpha 104 and the Papa 101, Allen and Walton also responded. Officers were wearing body-worn cameras. Upon arrival, Officers Powell and Marshall observed the unconscious female victim at the bottom of a flight of stairs in the bar near the bathrooms. The victim was later identified as Rebecca Hahn. While Boston EMS was providing medical attention, officers Powell spoke to the Isabel Bruno, the witness. Witness stated that she was the victim's coworker and they drank half drinks. When the victim got up to go to the bathroom, the witness stated that 20 minutes had gone by and she then went to go check on the victim. At that point, the witness said she found the victim unconscious at the staircase leading to the basement. The Delta 912 was able to call the manager, Rachel Caruso, and the owner of the restaurant, Chris Jameson, who were not on scene during the time of the incident, but were made aware of the incident. The Delta 912 recovered video footage of the incident. The victim was transported to Boston EMS to Tufts Medical Center for further medical treatment. Officers Powell and Marshall followed the ambulance to the hospital. Officers spoke to registered nurse Catherine Giles, who advised that the victim suffered serious injuries, but those injuries were not life-threatening. Officers were advised that the victim had a laceration to the back of her head, and at the time of this report, was currently undergoing further medical testing to determine severity of injuries.
Thank you very much, Officer Powell. Attorney Burke, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Green. Good day, Officer Powell. On behalf of Lolita, thank you. When you appeared, did you find the staff cooperative in the course of your investigation of this incident?
Yes, sir, I did.
And did you find any outward signs of any intoxication or anything else that had to do with this particular incident?
No, sir.
Did you, in fact, examine the area where this young woman fell?
Yes, sir. I didn't go all the way down to the bottom, but at the top, I saw the door that was open and I saw the staircase and the open basement.
Okay, and did you come to understand that that's a basement area where liquor is stored and accessed by employees only?
Yes, sir.
And is that some 8 to 10 feet away from the ladies' room?
Yes.
Entryway door?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this was in fact reported by the staff to the Boston Police Department, was it not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have any other questions of the officer, Mr. Green.
Great, thank you. Would you like to ask questions of your witness?
Mr. Malatesta, you are here representing Lolita. Did you conduct an investigation following this incident?
We did.
And did you in fact speak with Mr. Irving Rascone, who was senior member manager on site on the evening in question?
Yes, sir. In addition to the bartender who was taking care of the 2 guests.
Yes, and that was Mariana Rainier, is that correct?
I believe so. She was one of the people present, yes.
Right, and did you in fact learn from checking how many rounds these folks had prior to this incident?
They arrived around 10:15, and the incident, there was a total of 2 drinks each, I believe, and the incident happened around midnight.
Right, correct. And it was your worker, Mr. Rivera, I think, Eduardo Rivera, that first saw this woman and reported it to Mr. Rascone, and that caused the Boston Police and EMS to be notified. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And was there any indication of any wrongdoing or any overservice of alcohol that you came up with in the course of your investigation?
No, sir.
And did you in fact determine that this woman had accessed this basement doorway instead of accessing the ladies' room door?
Correct.
And are you aware of any witnesses to this incident where she went down the stairs?
No, sir.
And do you have any idea how long she was down there before discovered by your employee, Mr. Rivera?
No, her friend said she was gone for about 15 to 20 minutes, so.
Okay. I don't have any other questions of Mr. Malatesta, Mr. Green.
Thank you, Attorney Burke. We will see if the board has any questions, beginning with Chairwoman Joyce.
Yes, can you explain how the door at the top of these stairs was open?
It's an electronic lock. We actually upgraded it when we did our renovation. And for some reason, it seems as though it did not latch. The door was shut. So you can see on the video, she walks over to a shut door, pushes it open, and then goes. You can't see anything more from that. But The lights are on. It's not a very dark area. I'm not sure how this really happened.
Will you submit the video to the board?
Yes.
It has been submitted to the BPD, Madam Chair.
Okay. We
there
need
also is a-
ourselves, so,
we upgraded the door closer that was on there, so it's a heavy duty closer, so that there's no chance this isn't stay shut lock, and it locks automatically, so it's not as though the door was left open or purposely anything. It's just, the door was not, the electronic lock did not lock.
so the police report says that her friend was the one who found her. How did her friend find her? Did
I
she
believe,
just went
I
through the
believe-
door and fell down a flight of stairs?
yeah, I mean, she went to go to the bathroom and just went into someplace she didn't belong and then fell down the stairs somehow.
It was Mr. Rivera, an employee that did notice her and saw Mr. Rascone, and Mr. Rascone, the manager on duty, went and located Miss Hahn, who's the woman identified as a witness in the Boston police report.
So you're
I
saying
believe-
your employee found the woman at the bottom of the stairs and then went around the bar and happened to know who she was with?
No, what I believe happened
No.
was a guest notified one of our team members. I don't believe it was her friend. We grabbed the manager. The
Right.
manager then immediately called 911. I think she went to check on her friend maybe while this was all happening. I don't believe that she was the person that found her.
Right.
Do you have signs
Everything that-
on these, do you have signs on these doors that say do not enter or employees only?
There is no, but it is always locked. It automatically locks. It's the same door that's been there, the same hallway for the last 14 years. There's nothing has changed. We've never had anyone get in there before.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to submit the video to the board before,
We'll do
Okay,
that. Yes, of
awesome.
course.
Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
Is the restroom downstairs?
No,
All right, so she wouldn't have been directed to go downstairs.
no, basically you walk right past this door into the restroom corridor. I'm not sure why she stopped there.
That's all I have, I think. Thank you.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The board will take this matter under advisement, and please do submit the video either in person to room 809 at City Hall or to licensingboard@boston.gov, and we will share that with the commissioners when it's received.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank
Good day.
you.
Thank
Item number 3 has been continued at the request of their counsel and will be rescheduled to the next available hearing date. Calling item number 4, 1732 Center Street, Inc., doing business as West, located at 1732 to 1736 Center Street in West Roxbury. Date of the incident, February 24th, 2024. Assault and battery, patron on patron in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Joseph Green, the owner, and Chris Peretti, the manager, who's here that night.
Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective McIntyre I saw him logged on here moments ago, but is he here now?
I see, I'm Brenda McIntyre.
Brenda McIntyre.
Thank you very much. Detective, I'm going to ask you to start your video if it's possible to turn your camera on so that we can swear you in.
Okay,
There we go. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
Thank you. Detective McIntyre, if you could please read the police report into the record for the board.
Yep. All right. About 1:56 on Saturday, February 24th, 2024, officers Paul and Mills and the Echo 103 Alpha responded to a radio call for a fight at 1732 Center Street. On arrivals, officers encountered a group of individuals in front of the Westmont Center restaurant. The group was made up of the following named suspects: David Dixon, Elwin Rosecrans, Gregory McWhinney, and Matthew Nassif. Of the involved parties, Dixon and McWhinney were at the bar together while Rosecrans and Naismith's were together. All parties involved were in agreement that a fight had taken place. However, each side had different explanation as to what occurred. According to Naismith and Rosecrans, while inside the establishment, Naismith had encountered McWhinney, who had bumped into him multiple times. At one point, he had asked McWhinney to stop bumping into him, at which point a fight ensued. Naismith reported that McWhinney had struck him in the face several times with a closed fist. According to McWhinney, while inside the bar, Naismith had been antagonizing him. At one point, he had reached his limit and offered to fight Naismith, which led to an altercation. Bar staff separated the parties and escorted each out via separate doors. The involved parties then sought each other out in front of the bar, and an altercation ensued. Rosecrans reported that once outside, he was assaulted by Dixon without provocation. Dixon allegedly struck him in the face without any involvement in the altercation. Naismith, Rosecrans, and McWhinney all bore what appeared to be minor physical injuries, which would suggest that they had been involved in a fight. This included small cuts and marks about the face and nose. All parties declined medical attention. Those involved were checked for warrants prior to being released from the scene. Due to this being a licensed premise, the Lima 902 Sergeant Paulon was notified. On Saturday, February 24, 2024, Detective McIntyre was assigned to investigate an assault and battery that occurred at the West Lawn Center located at 1732 Center Street in West Roxbury. Detective McIntyre responded to the West Lawn Center and reviewed security footage of the incident. Footage shows an unknown white male, later identified as Gregory McWhinney, standing at the bar with another group of patrons. McWhinney then backs into the victim, later identified as Matthew Naismith, who was standing at the table talking to an elderly patron who was seated at the table. A verbal argument then ensues between Naismith and McWhinney before McWhinney slaps Naismith across the head with his right hand and pushes him away with two hands. Another patron of the bar then steps in to break up the fight, and McWhinney strikes him across the head 2 times with his right hand and throws 3 more punches towards him. A scrum then ensues involving several people in the establishment, and Naismith and McWhinney become locked up. McWhinney is observed then headbutting Naismith across his head. All parties involved in this incident were identified by responding officers and checked for warrants prior to being released from scene. Complaints to be sought against Gregory McWhinney for assault and battery at West Roxbury District Court.
Thank you very much, Detective. Mr. Green, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, an unfortunate incident. I think we did the best we could. Unfortunately, we had never seen this McWhinney or Dixon. It was, I believe, their first time at West Lawn Center. They definitely were just 2 aggressive individuals looking for spoiling for a fight. I believe Chris and our crew did the best they could. As soon as something happened, we got them outside. We separated them, and that's about it. Chris, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, it all happened within less than 30 seconds before we had them separated. Got them outside while they were still verbally jarring at each other, and just, like you said, through different doors to get them out.
Thank you. Anything further to add before we move to questions from the board?
That's really it. I mean, as soon as it happened, we called 911. We called, actually, I'm not sure if we called 911 or we called the Area E5 directly, but yeah, I think it was 911.
Thank you. With that, we will turn to see if there are any questions. Chairwoman Joyce.
It sounds like you broke up the parties, they went out separate doors. Did you see them leaving? Or, I mean, it sounds like the dispersal plan failed if they then were able to find each other around that corner and start fighting again.
By the time, I believe Mr. McWhinney went out the front door and Mr. Nass went out the back door. And by the time we got them separated and out different doors, the police department was already on their way. And so they sort of kind of commuted into the front.
And the McWhinney kid, he was still spoiled, from what I understand. He was still kind of spoiling. So he was spoiling for a fight. So he was, one goes out the front, one, I mean, they're around the corner, but they still.
Right. But my question is, did your staff exit with them and make sure that they left to
Yes, they did.
the car? How long did your staff stand outside with them?
Yes, we did. There was, at one point, both bartenders were outside for a period of time. trying to still continue to break it up. I do not know how long they were out there. I know at least one was out there until the police department arrived.
Thanks. Commissioner Corona, Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
When would the police call? When initially inside or when they were continuing to fight outside?
I think initially, as soon as it started. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Thank you all. If there are no further questions, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 5, Pier 50 LLC, doing business as committee located at 50 Northern Ave. Date of the incident, April 14th, 2024. Assault and battery with dangerous weapon, glass, patron on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 15A. And assault and battery, patron on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Attorney Green, Madam Chair, Commissioners Saxon and Curran, Stephen Miller, McDermott, Quilty, and Hanley. Also with me this morning is the manager who was present and in the middle of this altercation, Jenny Nugent, and the manager of record, George Albajati. Excuse me.
Great. Thank you. There we go. I see Mr. Abbott. There we go. I see them both on camera now. Thank you very much. Who's present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Lieutenant Detective Troy, the sergeant in question, is injured, and the detective and police officer was summoned and are not present.
Thank you, Lieutenant Detective. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Lieutenant Detective Troy. If you could please proceed with the police report for the board.
Reading from a police report written by Officer Carlson Bernius. It reads as follows. On Sunday, April 14th, about 6:05 p.m., Officers Bernius and Milet responded to the committee located at 50 Northern Ave for reports of a fight. On arrival, along with Sergeant Harrison, officers met with victim Chris McDonald. Officers observed McDonald to be holding a cloth filled with ice to his nose to help stop the bleeding. McDonald stated a verbal argument took place, which escalated to McDonald being physically assaulted by a group he was arguing with. McDonald stated that after the assault, the 2 unknown men, along with 3 unknown females, left the area prior to police arrival. McDonald stated he was punched in the nose and hit over the head with a glass container. Health and hospitals arrived on scene, and Mr. McDonald was evaluated. Mr. McDonald declined further medical treatment. Officers spoke to the manager on duty, Jenny Nugent, who was very cooperative and stated she did not witness the altercation but separated the group. Nugent stated video footage would be made available to detectives. McDonald stated he was not sure who the assailant was, but described the victim as a white male with a beard and another tall white male with a goatee and a blue shirt. Eugene also provided officers with the bar tab from one Robert Yeager, who was part of the suspected group. Sergeant Harrison issued a Code 35 license premise violation. That's the extent of the police report.
Thank you very much. Attorney Miller, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Basically, Lieutenant, you have no knowledge of the incident. You're just reading the report, correct?
Correct.
Sorry. I have Jenny Nugent, who was the manager and involved in this incident, and I'd like her to testify, but just briefly, Mr. McDonald and another patron that he was with asked to speak to a manager about some service issues. That manager was Jenny Nugent. Mr. McDonald and his friend came up to the bar. Jenny Nugent was behind the bar and started discussing his issues. These other people, these 2 guys and 3 women, were next to where this discussion took place.
for whatever reason, they decided to be rude and interrupted. Excuse me, discussion. Jenny asked them to basically mind their own business. They kept interrupting. She tried to de-escalate. They started arguing between them. She tried to de-escalate. It looked like it was going to be an issue. So she told the bartender who was standing with her to immediately call the police. From the time she went around the bar to address the situation with these two people and the other five, the two men and three women, it appears a punch was thrown and a glass was thrown. She did not see who did it, but the police had already been called before this incident even occurred. She didn't see who did it, and neither did the victim. She addressed the victim. She knew the police had already been called, and the five people involved in it on the assailant side immediately left the premises before the police got there. So, Jenny, are you there? I know.
Yes, I am. Mhm.
So you heard my brief description, Jenny, that from the time you were speaking to the two individuals and that requested to speak with you, and the other group was interrupting when you thought it was going to be a problem, and you asked the bartender to call the police. You walked around the bar to go outside and address the situation. Was that a matter of 30 seconds or 45 seconds? Approximately how long did that take?
So it probably took around within 30 seconds. I was behind the bar right before the incident. As soon as I saw like the glass of water being thrown to the victim and his party, I advised my bartender to call 911 in case that the incident has escalated. Myself and another bartender went around the bar to try to de-escalate and separate the two parties. It probably happened within 30 seconds, so I wasn't really viewing or seeing what had fully occurred.
And by the time you get around the bar, the victim had been punched, and the people involved immediately left the premises?
Yes, correct. By the time that myself and the other bartender had went around the bar, the group of assailants had already left and the punch was already thrown.
And at that point, the police arrived. You spoke to the police, and you were able to give the police a copy of the bar tab from one of the individuals?
Yes, correct.
I have no further questions. George Albajadi is here as the manager of record. He can answer any of your questions also, but I have nothing further of Jenny.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney Miller. We'll see if there are any questions from the board. Chairwoman Joyce.
Good morning. I don't know if anyone can hear me. My name is Carlson Brenius. I am here, one of the officers that responded to committee. I was on vacation.
You were here from the Boston Police Department?
Yes, I'm one of the responding officers.
Thank you, officer. I've just asked you to turn your camera on. If you are going to provide any testimony, we'll need to swear you in.
Okay, it's unable to access camera. Hold on, me. All right. I have to go to settings.
In the meantime, officer, then could you please affirm for the board that you will raise your right hand? Officer, are you still with us? Oh, I see that you've just rejoined.
Sorry.
There we go. Thank you very much. Could you please raise your right hand for us? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. Thank you. Was there additional testimony you wanted to provide for the board?
At this time, no, I'm just listening to
Great.
everything that I.
Thank you very much. We'll see if there are any questions for yourself or for the licensee, beginning with Chairwoman Joyce.
Okay.
Thank you. I guess this question would be for Jenny or for someone else at the restaurant. Was there anything leading up to this incident with this group of people that you were aware of?
Jenny?
So as far as prior to the incident, so the victim and his party were looking to speak with a manager on duty about the service that they were receiving. So that's when I came behind the bar to discuss with them. As we were discussing, the group of assailants next to them decided to barge into our conversation. Both parties don't know each other, have no prior history. So everything that had occurred was just through the group of assailants just interrupting our conversation and just taunting the victim.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions, Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon.
Are we gonna get video on this one?
So Commissioner, it's the police report, as it says that Jenny was very cooperative with the police and was able to get them the bar tab. She did say that video would be available to the detectives, and the detectives never came back. So through an error, she did not save the video. She's fully aware at this point, as is all the staff at committee, all the management staff and the manager of record, that they need to save the video on all any incidents, whether the police are called or not. But in this case, she specifically said that the video would be available to the police. And then since they didn't come back, she just lost track of it and it was run over. So we apologize for not having it.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
No additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further?
If I may, Attorney Green, just reading from the detective's notes here, it says there's no video attached to his case notes here. However, it does indicate that the detective did attempt to obtain video from committee on Northern Ave. So the implication that the detectives didn't show back up is a falsehood from what I read here.
Jenny, do you want to respond to that? Did the police ever come back and ask for the video?
No, no police officers or anyone within the department returned after that day that they responded to.
I'll check back with the detective assigned to this case to confirm that.
Lieutenant, do the notes indicate the manner in which he attempted to get?
No, it just simply says detective attempted to obtain video from committee on 50 Northern Ave. That's simply what it reads, and it it indicates his attempts to contact the victim, Mr. McDonald, and this notes in there indicating that his attempts to do that and obtain video. So I'll check with him and ensure that that he didn't go back.
Thank you, Lieutenant Troy. Any further questions from the board at this time? Board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 6, Causeway Union LLC, doing business as Loyal 9, located at 17 Union Street. Date of the incident, June 13th, 2024. Assault and battery on premise in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Do we have anybody with us on behalf of Loyal 9? We'll take a second call as well. Calling item number 7, Patina Boss LLC, doing business as Banners Kitchen and Tap and Hub Hall, featuring Momo-san Ramen by Morimoto, located at 80 to 82 Causeway Street. Date of the incident, June 6th, 2024. Person under 21 in possession of alcohol on premise in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34A, 34C, and 6464A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Chairwoman Joyce, Commissioners, Secretary Green, Tom Miller from McDermott, Quilty, Miller and Hanley on behalf of the licensee. Today I'm joined by their general manager, Nick Monitz. He should be there. I can see him there.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning. Thank you for being with us. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am Detective Hernandez.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, if need be.
Thank you very much. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, if you could please proceed with the police report for the board.
Good morning, sir. I'm going to read from a police report, which I wrote on Thursday, June 6, 2024. Lieutenant Detective Adrian Troy, Sergeant Detective Will Gallagher, and Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to the BPD License Premise Unit conducted a license premise inspection of the Hub Hall. As detectives walked into the establishment, they observed a young-looking patron drinking an alcoholic beverage. Detectives asked him to produce identification to confirm his age. The patron immediately stated that he was under 21 years of age, provided detectives with his driver's license. He also provided the fraudulent license he had used to obtain the beverage. The fraudulent driver's license was confiscated by detectives, and the following patron was positively identified. Mr. Jack Seidler produced a fraudulent New Jersey driver's license stating that his date of birth was 12/30/2001. Mr. Seidler then produced his valid New Jersey driver's license, confirmed his actual date of birth was 12/30/2003. Mr. Seidler will be summoned to the court for person under 21 possession of alcohol and false misuse of an RMV document. Detectives brought these matters to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. Nicholas Moniz. As a result of what detectives discovered, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license for inspection notice 021954 for person under 21 possession of alcohol on premise. Mr. Moniz signed for an accepted notice. That's all.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. Attorney Miller, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Thank you, Secretary Green. Detective Hernandez, when you entered the premise, were the staff and management cooperative with you?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. To address the incident itself, it took place in the food hall portion of the premise, an area that is intended as a place that is family friendly. As a result of this, it is open to all ages. Mr. Seidler came into Hub Hall and went to the grab and go counter at Momasan and ordered a single Corona. The cashier there asked for his ID, which he presented, showed the cashier one that stated he was 21 years old. She looked at the ID, but she didn't handle it and then sold him the beer. So the board is aware, the licensee's policy is that anyone who appears under the age of 40 has their ID checked. Staff is supposed to take each ID, look at it, handle it for its validity. In this instance, the cashier didn't follow company policy related to that. She just looked at the ID, but did not take it from Mr. Seidler. As a result of this incident, the licensee has taken steps to prevent any possible reoccurrence as best they can. They've removed all alcohol from this specific stand. They have retrained all staff on their policies of not only asking for IDs for anyone who appears under the age of 40, but they've also reinforced that each ID must be handled when checking it. In addition, they have purchased ID scanners for all locations on the premise, that is Banners, Hub Hall, and Momasan, where alcoholic beverages are sold. These are an addition to the already existing ID policy, not a replacement for it. Staff will still inspect and handle the IDs before scanning them to assess their authenticity and then scan them. They have also reaffirmed that all staff members are tip trained, also per company policy. Unfortunately, in this incident, a staff member didn't follow policy as it is laid out, which resulted in the incident here. We want to thank you for taking the time to hear this today, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Chairman Joyce. Any questions?
Yes, so this was NBA finals, right?
Game 1.
Okay, so you're saying that they they looked at the license but didn't take it?
Yeah,
That's it?
Mr. Seidler, showed the license to her. She leaned forward, looked at it, but did not, physically take possession of it, look at it and hand it back to him. He just held it up to her for inspection. She looked at it and then returned and then proceeded with the transaction.
Okay, and it's a New Jersey, it was a fake New Jersey license. The server didn't ask for a backup ID.
She did not.
How, for the detective, how old did this person look?
Sorry, looked really young. Out of all the people that were there, he caught her attention right away, and we weren't far off.
Yeah, I mean, this is a NBA finals game. It's not, not an unexpected thing. I would expect staff would be even overly conscious of rules and processes and not taking any exceptions on a night like this. So I'm sorry, it's just confusing what you're saying. So what happened after?
Yeah.
What happened after? Was
She looked at the ID, saw that, his picture matched him and their ID appeared to say he was of legal drinking age.
No, I meant like what happened to the employee after? Did you retrain? Did you have a meeting?
So she was retrained and disciplined. She received, disciplinary measures and was retrained with the rest of the staff. She has since chosen to go, no longer work for the licensee, but not as a direct result of this incident. Yes, she was retrained along with the entire staff. Their policies and procedures were reiterated. Everybody under 40 is ID'd. The idea is that, it is better to err on the side of caution. Unfortunately, that didn't happen in this instance.
Okay. Commissioner Carr and Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have two questions about your processes, and one is maybe related to like a busy night like this. Have you considered using anything like wristbands or anything like that?
I will let Nick answer that question.
Yes, sir. Obviously, so in instantly large events like this, obviously the game finals, obviously take it on the chin a little bit, a lot of it, especially not having everybody dialed in every specific areas. But definitely we have already ordered wristbands. And then obviously in addition to that, I think we're going to, with the ID scanners, and they haven't even entertained going 21 plus. So we'll have just a second security check at certain times. So restricting access all the way through Causeway side to prevent, other access from the North Station side, make sure that every ID is checked, and then obviously still understanding the responsibility of the bartender is to then re-verify once they have the IDs. We just want to make sure that the bartenders are on point with that and make sure that we have the SOPs in place that nothing falls between the cracks.
Okay, something you just said goes to my second question, which is a process of re-verifying, just not leaving it up to one person. Everyone on the lookout, if you see something, management, just in general, I think anyone should be empowered to, at least say to a manager, hey, I see someone over there, I think we should recheck them. So I just leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah. Commissioner Kern, Nick and his staff are aware that if, on nights when all IDs are checked at the door, that it is not, okay, fine, they made it in, they're good. It is everybody's responsibility to constantly maintain vigilance and to make sure that, if somebody happened to slip through, that they are not actually served.
This is just a question for Detective Hernandez. Would handling the ID have actually been able to catch the fraudulent ID? Like, was it particularly crinkly or?
No, I mean, it all depends on the training. I mean, the IDs are pretty good. I don't know what their level of training or her level of training was.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, did you guys get in with your software?
Yes, sir.
Did it fail?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I will say, Commissioner Curran, that at the point of this incident, they did not have scanners. They were not part of the policy. But because of this, they have gone forward and they're in the process of rolling out scanners to be used going forward.
Any further questions from the board at this time?
No questions.
Thank you. The board will take this under advisement.
Thank you.
Calling item number 8, A&B Burgers Causeway LLC, doing business as A&B Burgers, located at 101 Beverly Street. Date of the incident is June 6th, 2024. Overcrowding, 184 mechanical count, capacity 129 indoors, 39 outside, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.03J and 1.06A and F. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
I am Thomas Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Holland. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am Detective Hernandez.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, if need be.
Thank you. Can you all please raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, if you could please proceed with the police report.
Good morning. I'll read them again from police report, which I wrote on Thursday, June 6th, 2024. Lieutenant Detective Adrian Choi, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the BPD license premise unit, conducted a license premise inspection of the A&B kitchen. As detectives walked into the establishment, they reviewed the license and permits of the establishment. Detectives learned the capacity of the premises set at 168 persons. Lieutenant Detective Troy performed the mechanical count of the establishment and discovered the actual number of persons located inside the premise was 184. Detectives brought all these matters to the attention of the person in charge, which is Thomas Holland. As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license reference inspection notice 021955 for overcrowding on premise. Mr. Holland signed for an accepted notice. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Holland, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes. So this was also game one of the NBA Finals. We're a restaurant more than a bar. It's very rare that down there right now, since COVID, that there are crowds of the magnitude once the show starts. So we've brought in a doorman. They don't work for us fully, who did not show up that night. So my managers tried to manage it from the front door, and they got a little bit behind, which is when I stepped in and worked with Officer Hernandez, and then we shut down the door, got people out. And then moving forward for the rest of the finals, I personally worked the front door, as well as the parade, and we had no future violations or incidents upon multiple inspections.
Thank you, Mr. Holland. We'll see if there are any questions at this time. Chairwoman Joyce?
Thank you. Mr. Holland, are you saying you've been inspected several times after this June 6th incident?
Every game, yeah, more than once a game. We had people coming in. Yes, we had fire, we had police, yeah.
All right, Commissioner Saxon or Commissioner Curran?
I just want to make sure I'm clear on what happened here. Was the 184 all inside?
No, not all inside, no. What did happen though, and what we had to address moving forward, was that as the game started, people started to, that had tables that were seated outside that they told were outside diners, then started sneaking in and getting in there. And so we actually ended up shutting down the patio by halftime so that couldn't happen anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say something to that effect, because we've had situations like this before, and just in the way of comment and for the future, and I think you kind of get it, but you know, when you're running short on staff during a big event like that, sometimes the solution is to cut your capacity a little bit so you can handle with what staff you do have. And I think that'll help you in the future. So
yeah, we had to do that on the parade. We couldn't seat the patio on the parade because we had a short staff that day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The board will take this under advisement as well.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, we did.
Thank you. We will take a second call on item number 1. I do believe we have been joined by the licensee. Let me just verify that that is true. Is there anybody join us on behalf of New Moon Villa Restaurant, item number 1? I thought we were joined by them, but we will come back in a moment and take a second call on item number 6. Causeway Union LLC doing business as Loyal 9, located at 17 Union Street. Date of the incident, June 13th, 2024, assault and battery on premise in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Yes, Carolyn Conway on behalf of the licensee, and I do apologize for not being here. I've been in the middle of an emergency. I was supposed to formally inform the board that the licensee is now closed. They have entered into an agreement whereby the license will be sold to the landlord, with the proceeds going to the victims of the, as we all know, the unfortunate incident that happened there, so that other than some expenses that will be going on. So it's a pretty good global settlement. We don't have any employees anymore, and so I don't really have anything to say about the violation, but I am working with attorney Adam Barnowski is going to be representing the landlord on this, and I would like to request to the board if I may file something formally with you to put this in writing, to just say that basically to say what I just said, that they're closed and they will, this license will be transferred to a new operator sponsored by the landlord. And again, I apologize for not doing this before. It just totally I got involved in another emergency and this just slipped my mind.
I understand, however, should their violation be found here, the violation stays with the license. It's not something that can be erased by the sale. This was very serious.
But then may I request, as I said, then can we put it off for the next hearing date? And I will prepare, and we will have testimony with respect to the merits of the violation.
Okay, we're not going to schedule anything on the transaction side until this is heard.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And I think it's going to take some time to be heard on the transaction side anyway. So we would be prepared to address this at the board's next meeting.
Thank you, Attorney Conway. In that case, this will be continued to the next hearing date.
Okay, I appreciate it again, and I'm sorry for the taking up the board's time.
Thank you, Attorney. Going back to item number 1, is anybody with us on behalf of Jan Hung Inc. doing business as New Moon Villa Restaurant?
Yeah, well, we're here.
Great, thank you very much. I'm going to ask you to turn your camera on so that we can swear you in.
Okay, let me try it.
Thank you very much. We do see you. I will.
Oh. Hold on.
Okay.
Is this good?
Yes, there we go. We can see you now. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, just calling back into the record. Item number 1, Jan Hung Inc. doing business as New Moon Villa Restaurant, located at 15 to 19 Edinburgh Street. Date of the incident, October 27th, 2023. Assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, patron on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 15A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Can you please identify yourself for the board?
Morning, ladies. Sergeant
Yeah.
Kevin. Oh, Representative Boston, please.
Sorry, excuse me, there was multiple people talking at once. The licensee, if you could please just identify yourself.
My name Len Wen Jian. And my name is Hung Goon. I'm helping him translate.
Great, thank you very much. And who's present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Apologize, sir. That was it's me, Sergeant Kevin Plunkett, Boston Police. Good morning.
Great. Thank you very much, Sergeant Plunkett. Thank you for being with us. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
Detective Troy, I may have something to offer if needs be.
Great, thank you very much. Can you all please raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Sergeant Plunkett. If you could please proceed with the police report for the board.
Certainly. I'm going to be reading a police report authored by Police Officer Sarah Drew on October 27th of 2023. At about 3:25 a.m. on Friday, October 27th, 2023, multiple officers assigned to District A1 responded to a radio call for a fight inside of Moon Villa at 15 Edinburgh Street, Boston. Upon arrival, officers attempted to enter the building, but were met with some resistance from the staff at the door, saying that the fight was over and the suspects had left the premises. Behind the staff, officers could see a female, later identified as Scarlett Delva, standing towards the back of the room with blood on her shirt. Officers entered the restaurant and spoke with Miss Delva, who stated that her Delva was hit in the head with a glass during a fight and in the rear of the restaurant trying to clean up. Mr. Schuyler emerged from the rear of the restaurant and was covered in blood. Officer Muckahide immediately began to render aid and observed several deep lacerations in Mr. Schuyler's scalp, as well as some bruising and scratching along his arms. Miss Schuyler stated that a group of males were inside the restaurant and began to harass a drag queen who was also inside, using derogatory and transphobic words towards them. They refused to give any identifying information. So she and Mr. Schuyler stepped in to assist. At that point, two of the males in the group began to direct their harassing epithets towards Mr. Schuyler, who stated at that point the fight became physical, and the two males began to physically aggress Mr. Schuyler. One of the males, described as a black male wearing a dark green sweater, sunglasses, and a baseball cap, smashed a glass over Mr. Schuyler's head and then struck him with the restaurant chair. Officers could see glass covering the floor in the area where the Schuylers were standing. The second male involved was described as a black male with cornrows wearing a gray sweater. Both males had fled the scene in a vehicle prior to officers' arrival. Boston EMS Unit A1 arrived to evaluate Mr. Schuyler and transported him to Tufts Medical Center for further treatment. Ms. Schuyler pointed towards the two other males inside the establishment, saying that they were with the two who assaulted her and her brother. The males, identified as Gleb Gamshiv and Thangala Srinivas, were standing by the register at this point. Mr. Gamshiv stated that he met Jimmy, who he identifies as wearing a green sweatshirt and a green baseball cap that had been left behind. He stated that Jimmy and the others had gotten into an argument, so he stepped in between them to attempt to separate them. While officers were speaking to him, Jimmy Estella Chef called his phone several times. They list the phone number in the report. Mr. Gamshiv stated that it was also the same individual that he was with that evening and that he knows him to be a chef at Estella. Mr. Srinivas was also with this group of males. A green baseball cap was left behind on the floor, and Mr. Gamshiv stated that it belonged to Jimmy. Sergeant Plunkett performed a license premise inspection inside Moon Villa and issued license premise inspection notice 017326 for patron-on-patron violation. Owner manager Wen J. Lin was on scene and did sign for the notice. Mr. Lin also stated they had cameras inside the restaurant, but he did not have access to the footage as it was controlled by his daughter. He did state with certainty the footage is saved for a month. Officers searched the area for suspects to no avail. And that is the narrative of that report.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Would the licensee like to address the alleged incident?
Yeah, he just wanted to let you know that when they was arguing, he already called the 911 for police assistance. And so when the police arrived, assailant left already. And he was at the premise and he was cooperating.
Thank you. Anything else you would like to add for the board?
Yeah. He said that, when they stopped arguing, he already called 911. So that's what he wanted to add.
Thank you very much. We'll see if there are any questions at this time. Chairwoman Joyce.
So the police report states that when they arrived, the door staff, the police were met with resistance from the staff of the door. It sounds like you didn't allow the police, or you were not going to allow the police in after calling them.
差佬嚟，你哋好似唔想俾佢入。
唔係唔係，我講嘅太佬係話佢話嗰個走咗，先話會作嗰個人。
So it's not in that case. He says when they arrived, he told them they left and he asked them to locate them. He didn't. He on the report stated he fully cooperated. He was there, meet the police, and that he let them know that the two assailants left, and he asked them to go chase them.
有冇啲影物？
Maybe there's a miscommunication with English.
Okay, does he understand that he needs to cooperate with the police all the time?
Yeah, it did. On the report say he cooperated.
Okay, Sergeant Plunkett, were you there at the door trying to get in?
I was, ma'am.
And would you describe it as you were met with resistance?
I would describe it as the staff attempting to downplay what had happened inside.
Okay.
The rest, and
well,
well, that may have been the intention to try to find responsible parties. I mean, there was an individual with pretty serious wounds, injuries that was located in there that we kind of had to seek out. Staff did not point us in that direction.
Yeah, that's my question too. It sounds like you wanted them to go chase people, but there was actually someone bleeding inside.
Yeah, he said that after the assault, he asked them to go, wash up the blood. Right now, my kid was up there. Yeah. So he said, after the assault, he asked them that the restrooms in the back of this restaurant, that he asked them, to wash off the blood that they got injured from.
Okay, but my question for you right now is, when the police arrived, was there someone bleeding inside?
佢差佬嚟，有冇人係流緊血？
佢滿面血啦。
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so why would you not be swinging your doors open and having the police come in for assistance?
咁佢話點解你唔開門歡迎佢哋嚟
Sounds like you weren't being
開門的啫，唔開門。
佢話
嗱冇嗰回事，我大佬，I call 911, you police coming.
So they was the one that called and they welcomed them. So he doesn't understand why they was.
So I tell police the other guy are leaving.
So after he told them that they left.
Okay.
Bye.
Were any of these people regulars?
係咪成日嚟㗎
No.
No.
All right, and so this was at 3:25 a.m. Were any of these people drinking?
有冇飲酒？
冇。
No.
Okay. Sergeant Plunkett, when you went inside, the reason why I'm asking is that they're supposed to stop serving alcohol at 2. Did you observe anyone still being served alcohol when you walked in?
I did not, ma'am. The restaurant had cleared out considerably, but there were no signs of alcohol being served at that time.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna see if Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon have any questions.
Does the licensee have video from that morning?
佢嗰日有冇錄帶？你話有係咪？
我話有畫啊。
Yeah, at that time he said he doesn't have video of it.
Why not?
What's that? He has video at that time but he has no access to it, and no one came back to ask for the video.
So presumably there was video recorded?
應該有錄帶係嘛？
有，就同樣我講話一個月。
Yeah, he said that at that time he told them they recorded it usually for 1 month.
Okay, why didn't he save it?
點解你冇留俾差佬？
我叫佢攞嗰個喊嘅 finger，使佢嚟攞嘛，佢冇嚟。
He asked them to bring a finger thumb drive so that he could record it for them, but no one came back and gave him the thumb drive.
Why didn't he save it himself?
點解你自己唔留啊？
我唔識啩，唔識整啊，唔識用。
He didn't know how to do it himself. If they bring it back, he would ask his daughter to access for him.
Okay, why didn't he ask his daughter to save it?
點解你冇問你個啲留低喎？
佢話嗰嘢係嚟需要就攞嗰嚿嘢嚟啦嘛。
係咪？佢話需要先攞嚟。
佢話需要，佢需要個，我使佢個人拎個 finger 嚟入電腦入咗俾佢啦嘛。冇嚟啊嘛。
Oh, he asked the officer to bring the finger or the thumb drive so that he could save it for them, but nobody came back with it, he says.
Does he remember the board writing him in 2019 about preserving video during serious incidents?
佢話佢2019年嗌你留，有咩事要留啊？你記得？
唔記得啦。
He didn't remember that. So.
Okay, we've written him notifying this premises that it's their responsibility to preserve video during serious incidents.
有咩事你要錄㗎？你知未
？Okay.
So,
Attorney Green, if I may.
You may.
And Dr. Troy, just this matter was assigned to the Civil Rights Unit due to the transphobic words and derogatory language used. The detective from there, the sergeant detective spoke to Miss Win Lee on 10/27, October 27th, and requested the footage of the incident inside the restaurant. Miss Lynn, presumably the owner's daughter, said that or Mr. Lynn, I'm sorry, he spoke to Mr. Lynn, in fact, said he had access to the CCTV and knew how to download, the footage. He provided, or that his daughter knew how to download the footage, I should say, and he provided his name and number to Sergeant Detective C. The assigned detective contacted Miss Ava Lynn and spoke to her and requested that she download the CCTV film. She asked the detective drop off a thumb drive and she would download the information. As requested, the detective dropped off the thumb drive and left his business card from Mr. Lynn. But the information or the footage was never received, although the detective, reading from his notes, requested it several times from the premise and dropped by again.
Lieutenant, do you have the date that the thumb drive was dropped off?
It says on, well, the note is written from 10/27. Just let me look at this one here. Yeah, 10/31. He contacted 31st of October. Contacted. And she said she'd have it done by November 1st.
佢又話放低俾你攞埋個 business card 啊，佢話而家
有俾佢，如果係
佢有俾你喎，
佢有俾我，梗係有俾佢啦。佢俾份係俾定
你有冇錄啊？
我喊我女同我錄影，嗰佢係有嘅。
佢話放低，佢話你記得有冇錄啊？
我唔知道咁耐，但係佢哋反正嗰個戒指，
佢話攞咗嚟啦，
攞咗嚟佢梗係攞嘅。
He said if they just drop off, he would provide the video.
Oh, I mean, almost that's neither here nor there. I mean, my position, I can only speak for myself.
Yes.
It's not the police's responsibility for our purposes to provide you with the medium to save it. It's your responsibility to save it. And I think we've already expressed that in the past.
喂，當時已經都戒你錄嘅，你都唔錄而家佢話，你話
唔係，sorry，即係有police take a finger, he come back, he finish him come back the take， 即係佢翻嚟攞啊，
冇嚟攞，
唔知話佢咁耐，即係佢每一次佢哋翻嚟攞嘅係需要。
He said usually when they need it, they would come back for it. So he didn't know what happened, you know.
Now, see, for our purposes, for the board here, okay? The,
Okay.
Our expectation is that you are evaluate that this is a serious matter, treat it seriously, and do the things that need to be done in order to preserve the video for our purposes, not just for the criminal investigation.
每一次有呢啲你要錄㗎。
Okay.
Anything further from the board at this time?
I'm just trying to get a sense of the incident itself. Just how much time passed between the verbal assault and the physical assault?
佢話咧鬧交到幾時先開始打？幾多分鐘？
都係2-3分鐘。
2 or 3 minutes.
我哋一見到佢嘈，就趕嚟揾。
When they start arguing, he already have people call 911 for police
And
assistance.
how long had they been there before the verbal assault started?
佢哋喺呢度幾耐喺度餐館？
即係食嘢，
食嘢。
佢係20分鐘。
About 20 minutes.
Any further questions? Anything further from the licensee or from Lieutenant Troy or Sergeant Plunkett?
Just want to thank you for your time. And we'll make sure he would save the video if there's another incident.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, oh, sorry, Chairman Joyce.
I'm just gonna say, should the board find a violation here, this will be noted on your docket, so any future appearance before us, we will be able to say that you agreed to preserve video.
佢下次
You can't pretend that you don't understand it and are confused.
要錄，每一次有時要錄，冇嚟咯。Okay.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Thank you all. If there are no further questions, then the board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Those are all the items before the board this morning. The board will meet to vote on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Notice has been posted to the city's website that will adjourn this hearing, and thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.